Hello everyone and welcome to Layer by Layer. Today we're going to talk about some of the stuff that Framework is doing with 3D printed adapters, what could happen with the Maverick, what we're thinking about as far as making filament, and a few other things that you might want to tune in for. So, hey everybody, how's it going? This one's going to be a little bit different. We've got enough user feedback to where we're going to kind of run through some comments and that kind of stuff right off the bat. But I wanted to give you kind of some updates of some of the things that we've announced over the last couple of months and that kind of stuff. First of all, with Filament. So I'm just going to say this right now. We are bringing in another production filament extruder. This one will be still predominantly focused on producing filament for Slant 3D. But we are going to try to spin out a filament brand. We're not entirely sure yet how that's going to work, how it's going to play out. We're working with the business model of it because it's not something that's core to Slant 3D. We don't make filament. We are a mass production 3D printing house. But it's very clear that there's a need for this, and it's a matter of putting our money where our mouth is and just endorsing this. And the opportunity came up. So we're expanding our filament production capacity, and we will be announcing some sort of filament product in the near future. What it's going to be and how it's going to work, we're not totally sure about yet. But we'll keep you updated here and probably through Patreon. Continue to give us the feedback. That's been great. But something is coming, but we don't even know exactly what this could be yet. So we're hashing that out and getting it refined. But we appreciate all you guys' feedback on our last couple of videos. And we have more videos coming out around filament and the problems with it and some of the solutions for it. So there'll be those continuing to come out here. So there'll be more information about how it's coming together. But yeah, we're gonna release a filament brand, so it should be fun. Next thing, software. Oh, right. So Slant 3D, we're in beta testing right now. We're getting the software refined and laid out for our 3D printing API. We announced this a month or two ago. It did honestly fall a little bit behind. What we did is when we throw it out there in the world, it broke. And we ended up having to do a major revamp on a few things. And we don't want to release this not until it's not perfect, but very useful and there's a good minimum viable product. So that everybody who wants to get access to a Slant 3D print farm and have us print and ship parts for you can really rely on us and know exactly what it is. Part of what we're doing with that, in addition to the software, is the support around it. So we're working really hard right now to kind of create a qualification standard that will apply to our print service so that you know exactly what you're going to get. But it is coming together, but it is a bit delayed. But it's coming together. But we're having to do some changes to it. Let's see here. All right. Some news here. So, Framework. Framework released their gaming laptop here. And if you don't know about Framework is a highly right to repair type of company. Linus Tech Tips invested in them, but they are making really modular laptops so that you can swap out components and swap in new components. With the announcement of the 16-inch gaming laptop that they have, it came back to my attention of the fact that they have a marketplace where you can sell components and 3D printed parts and that kind of stuff. And I wanted to promo that here just because it's a really good application, but it's not new. I mean, Ford has done this with the Maverick. Prusa has released spare parts on printables. All of these things are coming together to where spare parts are coming together. But what is needed? Comment down below parts that you guys really need or places where you find long lists of out of stock parts. Because we also did a video about this, about problems with spare parts. And we'd like to engage with this more as far as helping contribute new adapters and modular parts for Framework or for the Maverick that aren't just another Thingiverse cup holder to plug into the side, but a place where we can use our product design acumen and our production capacity to actually create a viable product for those kind of things. Because all the 3D printed parts are always great, but they're always very niche and very specific and very chintzy. And when they're on something like Thingiverse, they're just for the guys with 3D printers and very well-tuned 3D printers. And it shouldn't be a big project to have an accessory 3D printed. So what we'd like to do is actually make some really optimized ones that could be productized and put into the marketplaces so that people can really rely on the finished good in a way that hasn't really been possible before. But it's really cool to see more companies moving this direction, to see these capabilities to have 3D printed stuff adapted to them, having a socket or a plug or some way of mounting something on it so that you can create expansions. The problem that we got is people are coming up with very interesting expansions. So hopefully we can crowdsource this a little bit. Give us some ideas of expansions or slots or cards or anything else around any of these products, Maverick, Framework, any of them. And we'll see. We want to mess around with it and see if there's something that we can contribute to that to help improve the community on all those. So there's all that. Okay, let's see here. What else? There's no news this week. We don't want to do any news. There's not that much news, and we're trying to figure out a different way of doing that so that's more interesting. So we may start releasing like a separate weekly video. Comment down below with any names that you think it ought to be called, but quick videos that are really good cadence for just the news that week or every couple of weeks or something like that. Because we've done news videos in the past, but they've either been long form or if you're a podcast, and they're not the greatest. So we're looking for a different way of doing that format. All right, let's see here. Some comments down below. Test print parts. Benchy. Oh. So this is sort of fun. Sort of fun. We've never printed a Benchy in Slant 3D ever. I don't think we've ever used it as a qualification print. I don't think it's never come up because Benchy, okay, how do I say this? Benchy is a good model. Benchy is great for qualifying retraction settings, overall motion of your machine, speed of print. It's become the standard of how to qualify a machine compared to other ones. Benchy is the model because it shows detail, it's artistic, it's playful, so it's a really good example of that. We have never used it because it's not precise enough. Here at Slant 3D, we develop all of our own machines, of course. But when we test them, we really want to know exactly, precisely, down to the feature, what is wrong or good with the machine. Right now, when a new machine comes off the line, there's 3 to 5 core qualification prints that it has to complete before it goes into the farms. Each one of those prints is very narrowly focused on some feature or QC test that we want to do on the machines, like retraction or cooling or overhangs, that kind of a thing. And there's a lot of prints out there that are very precise about that because they have like overhangs increasing in angle so that you can really test and pressure test your machine. And because we have those very precise, very targeted tests, we've never used the Benchy because it's just not a precise type of test. It's a good kind of catch-all, which is why it's such a universally kind of beloved model. But because of that, we never used it. And when I started in 3D printing, I had no interest in the Benchy. And at that time, like 3D Hubs was still doing, and they had like their little astronaut. And there were a number of other kinds of, there were like the maker coins. There were a number of qualification prints out there. And Benchy now has kind of become the standard first print a lot of the times. But it's just never been useful for us in a production context. So we don't really use it. And I can guarantee in our whole mega farm, there is not a copy of the Benchy sitting around anywhere just because it's never been that useful for us. Alrighty then, what else do we got going on? Okay. Final stories. Oh, no, we're not going to do that one this week. Go ahead and subscribe and we'll cover that topic at a slightly later date because it's a bit early yet for that one. But thanks everybody for watching. This is going to be a little bit quicker show today. Yeah, we'll save that one for a little bit later. Comment down below if there's other topics that you'd like us to cover in kind of this long form podcast. We do one of these every 1 to 2 weeks. It's kind of informal right now. We're trying to get formalized. But yeah, let us know about topics or categories of things that you'd like us to talk about, and we'll try to get them included in the videos. Takes a little while to get to them because we have kind of a backlog of videos most of the time to kind of run through before we can get to the new audience suggestions, but please keep them coming. We do read the comments and we are trying to add more stuff here. And if there's any other types of formats or key information about how to do mass production 3D printing or what we do here at Slant 3D, let me know. Have a great day, everybody.